along to part 6 in my Arrow video collection series. In this video I'll be talking about my Amaray cases, on the rest of them on shelf 3. And I have talked about on the shelf 3, I've talked about the ones that are from the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, the banned sort of era, and these ones are from the 80s, but these didn't get banned. These were one ones that didn't really get banned, but they're from that period. So let's get straight into it. So the first one here is The Beast Within. Now this is one that I remember. I remember it. I don't think I actually watched it. No, actually I did watch it back in the day. There's your first back in the day today. And I did remember it being really good, but when I watched it, I've rewatched it, I realised that how good the effects are in this film. The effects are absolutely amazing, and there's a lot to do with the fella in here, how he used to contort his face. Horgos 73 has been taught to me a lot about this film and how he actually, this fella really got himself into this role, which it is true when you see this film. So there's a lot of things behind the makings of and all that about this particular movie, but it's highly recommended, and it's got some excellent, for 1982, it's got some excellent practical effects as well. Obviously practical effects for me are much better than digital. Now this next one is the one that I haven't seen, but I'm sure I saw previously. It's nearly said back in the day there. It's Burnt Offerings. Now I don't really know too much about this, so I don't remember too much about this, but it's got Oliver Reed in it, who is one of my favourite actors. I just think his stuff is just, I think he was an amazing actor. Sadly he was taken by being a bit, his drinking habits was legendary. Apparently he was rumoured to have drunk 100 pints of beer in one weekend. Wow. Not that I urge anybody to do that. So this one here is, it's got an R card for a film which I can't really make out what that film is actually. I can't even remember seeing it. Even it might be one of them ones that Arrow said were going to come out and never did come out. If you've got any ideas about where this one's from, please tell us down in the comments down below. So I don't really know too much about this film, so I can't really say anything about it. Before I do that, I'll just see what was inside here, because I don't think I showed you what was inside here. You get a R card for Delta Force, and you do get a really thick booklet as well, so with lots of great pictures in it as well. So yeah, so the next one is Invasion of the Body Snatchers, 1978 remake film. Now I've seen this plenty of times on TV, but I've never actually watched the Arrow version of it. I do want to watch it. I want to watch all of these, but it's just something I just haven't got around to, and I don't know why. You got a nice booklet with it as well. A lot of people say this is one of their favourite films. Now I remember watching it and think it was a great film. It's not that I don't like it, it's just that I haven't got around to watching it yet. But I imagine that a lot of people will be saying this is a great film. Quite rightly so. Now this film here is one of my favourite films of all time. And one of the interesting points about this Life Force from 1985 is the practical effects in it are absolutely amazing. There's people who have never heard about this and never heard about the fact of this film exists. And it kind of really slipped. It's a Toby Hooper film as well. It really slipped under the radar, even at the time it slipped under the radar. Now the interesting thing about this release is that Arrow have done 2 releases of this movie. They did one previously, and it was a good version. But what they did was they went and released a brand new 4K version, or remastered version of it. The colour of this is the 4K one. A bit like the recent Creepshow 2, there's 2 types of colour. This kind of is like the harder to get Creepshow 2 colour, and the red one was the one you could get, well, even though it's out of print, it's more readily available. So this one here, I urge you, if you do want to buy this film, do get this version of it, the one with this cover on, and it does say remastered in 4K on the back, right? You'll get a much better quality picture, and I do mean that. It's a big jump up in the quality of the picture. Got a lovely R card there, and also a nice booklet as well. Now the funny thing about this was, the weird thing about this was that I had obviously the older version, which I didn't need. That was a really daft double dip for me. So I took it back with a few other ones to take it back to CEX. And for some reason, they must have thought, or the computer thought, as CEX computers do this type of things, they must have thought this was the brand new. So I got about £8 in-store credit on it, on the one that's been out for years. Wow. And I don't know, well, that's their fault, isn't it? So, but I do urge you to see this film. It is a brilliant film, and everyone who's seen it, who knows about it, think it is such, Sometimes it's hard, when you're trying to describe a film and you haven't seen it for a bit, it's hard to waffle on about it because you do trip yourself up a little bit. Anyway, back to the films. Next one, 1980s Blowout with John Travolta and Nancy Allen. Now, I haven't watched this Arrow version yet, although I have seen it and I did enjoy it. I do think it's got a lovely print on this, and I do want to watch it because I do like John Travolta in movies. Now, weirdly enough, which I'll be talking about in my What Films I've Watched in July video, which will be coming up soon, I did watch, well actually it won't, because I've just watched it the other day, so it'll be in the August, so we'd have to wait a full month to think what I thought of The Fanatic, the recent one from John Travolta, which deals with a lot of things. And does it deal with it correctly? Wow, I don't think it does. Anyway, back to this. Good film, good print on it, and I do want to watch this again because a lot of people have been talking about it recently, saying how good it is, and I do want to re-evaluate it because it's been a long time since I watched it. This is another film which is a bit like that as well. This is, did I show it was inside there? You get the battles without honour and humanity, and you get a nice booklet, very thick booklet in this one as well. So, yeah. I don't know if you were to buy this brand new now, would you get the booklet in it? Do they have a certain run and then the booklet's gone, or do they keep printing them, or do they have ones that are like, I don't know about if you ever get these older ones, especially in the sales. I don't think you get the booklets anymore. Maybe that's why they're cheaper. Now this next one is, I think it's from about 1981, Dressed to Kill. It's a Brian De Palma film. It's sort of a whodunit, and it's got a few twists and turns in it, which to me, I haven't watched it on Arrow Video. I did like it, I remember, and I do want to watch it again, and but I can't really remember much about it. I do remember the twist though. This next one is a film I haven't seen at all, and it's James Caan in Thief. Now this was a funny one because this one seemed to go out of print and go for daft money, but it got re-released again, and it got accessible, so I did buy it thinking, did I show, getting ahead of myself here, did I show you in the, I'm asking you as if you're going to tell us. Yeah, so this is so it tells you about the Arrow. Oh no, that's, I haven't seen that one before. This is telling you about Brian De Palma collection. Tells you about them titles, which I never really noticed that they had the thought that in that way about a collection. And it's got, so that's a bit of a strange art card there, although it's like more like an art bit of paper. You get a booklet with it as well, and yeah, I always think, and I'm sure I saw it somewhere, and I can't see it on this Arrow release, but I'm sure there's a bit probably in the booklet that gives away the twist in this film. So if you do get it with the booklet, don't look at the booklet until you watch the film. I knew what the twist was, but there's a way, I'm sure it's in this version, it might not be, but it does tell you about the whole twist, which is, defeating the object. So this film here, I haven't seen it, don't know much about it. I think he's tonight his take-home pay is $410,000 tax-free, I believe. And you do get a booklet with this, and there's a yard card as well. And I think that it'd be like a sort of like a heist movie or something like that, or he's it's a neo-noir, and it's a jewel thief. That's it. He's a jewel thief. I knew there was something about that. But obviously, thief tells the story, doesn't it? Now, this film here, I remember seeing it on VHS, and I didn't like it one bit. It's because it comes in amongst some of his seminal great films, between some masterpieces, and this was slap bang in the middle, and I could not understand it to save my life, what this was all about. I got it again because I saw it quite cheap, and I thought I'd give it another go. And I've looked at the print, and the print is absolutely stunning on this film, but I still haven't got round to watching it. And it's George A. Romero's Night Riders. Now, Camelot is a state of mind. It's I've got the R card there, and it's got a big booklet in as well. I don't know how to describe it. Made after the zombie classic Dawn of the Dead. Well, obviously you're expecting something great from them. George A. Romero's Knight Rider is both clearly the work of the same director and a marked change in tone. There's still plenty of action, but it takes the form of jousting by people wearing full medieval armour whilst riding motorbikes. Yeah, so make of that what you will. I personally will watch it, but I'm in no rush. I think it's quite a long film as well. I think that put me off as well. So I don't know, but it is a really good print, and I'm interested probably more in the extras to do with it. But I will give it a watch because I do like George A. Romero's stuff, and sometimes his films don't really cut it with his first time around. But I will get into it because I do highly rate him as a director. He's one of my favourite directors of all time. This next one is a ultra cheap film called Satan's Blade. Didn't know anything about it, watched it, and it must have been made on a budget of like 50p. But it's quite an enjoyable film, and I did have a good time with it, even though it is really, really low budget. And I can't really remember too much about it. I just remember probably laughing at it more than I did. But it was shot in 1980, but not released until 84. One of them films where probably they couldn't pay for the negatives to be developed, all that type of thing. But get it cheap. It's not a bad film if you like a good laugh. The next film is another one of these creature features that they release. It's Slugs. Didn't see this one, but I watched it and I did enjoy it. I don't really like. It's one of them ones where, I don't like slugs. I don't know anyone who does like slugs. Nice art card there, although it's a very strange picture there on the flip. You get a booklet as well, and I do remember being a bit. When you get like it's same with Squirm, it's with worms. This was slugs. I didn't like the creatures for the fact of it. You imagine them all over you and getting into your body and all that. It's disgusting thought, really, isn't it? So that's another one of them creature features that you watch. The one that I won't watch is the 88 film's Frogs, because I absolutely detest frogs, and I couldn't think of anything worse than watching frogs in a film in any way, shape or form. This one is a great classic. I know it is Shivers, but I do like the title They Came From Within. That's when I flipped the cover, that's what the title I had on there. And it's from 1975, and it's by David Cronenberg, and it's about this sort of virus thing that gets into these people and turns them into sort of crazy maniacs in this block flats. And it's a great film. I'd saw the pictures actually, not in 75, but on re-release. And it's got a nice R card for Rabid, which I did have the Arrow version of it, but I sold it because I got the 101 film nice box set of there, which I think used the same print, so we weren't getting any going down in print as well. I got that gifted off my good friend Holgos 73, didn't I? Yes. So anyway, yes, the early Cronenberg films are really highly recommended. Nice print on this one as well. Speaking of Cronenberg, this film here, I went to picture to see this one. I loved it. It was so out there. I couldn't believe what I was seeing, if I'm honest. And this is another one. It's got a nice R card there. It's another one that's you watched in 83, I think, when it came out. And it was another one that you took around to your mate's house and you urged everybody to get it out and sit through some strangeness to watch some really out there scenes. And it's something that David Cronenberg can do very well. And I know this came out in a special edition, and it went for, I remember seeing it in the shop, and I thought, right, this is when they started doing like the big versions of it, like the more like the harder cases and the special editions. So I thought, right, I'm going to get that one. So I went in the shop, and I think it would be about £20, and it was completely sold out. You couldn't get it anywhere. And that was one of the first ones I remember that actually sold out before it even got into the shops. So from that day, I was mindful to pre-order from our website to make sure I got these things, because you could never say that these things would ever see the light of day in HMV. So that's where I went for the standard one, which is, it's okay. I don't feel like I need to get the super version, but I'm glad I got this one. It's an essential buy, especially from Cronenberg. All them films like The Fly and all of them are. This next one is one of my personal favourites, 1977's The Car. It was a TV movie. I remember seeing it on TV lots of times, and I loved the whole thing about it. just the fact of a car, like with demonic possessed, just going around, just killing people, which is just great. Just like love movies like that, like Death Ship, all that type of thing, where you get these sort of things like ships. I don't think they've ever done one with a plane. That would be quite interesting, wouldn't it? This one here is, I've got rollerball again there. Or card, you could get a really good booklet with it again. And this if you've got this, I don't usually listen to commentaries, but if you have this movie, check out the commentary with Callum Waddell, and he had it with the director, and it didn't go too well because I don't think the director was really on the same wavelength when he was getting asked questions. His answers were kind of just quite bizarre, and he didn't get anything that Callum was sort of saying to him. And it was really, I do like, although Callum really hates the commentary on here. So anyway, have a look at that. You will enjoy it for what it is. The next one is the one I've seen a lot of people picking up recently, and I picked this up a while ago. It's called The Fury, and I've never watched it. I don't know anything about it really. It seems to be a long film, but I will watch it. Obviously, when I bought it, I thought, well, it's one of them titles that you hear about back in the day, but you never watch. This one here's the one that I watched on VHS quite a lot. The Stuff. Enjoyed it immensely. Watched it again on Blu-ray from Arrow, which is a really good 2K scan. I didn't like it as much as I did before, but I do understand. I do get that it comes from that thing where, at this point, where people were trying to sell gimmicks and sell these wonder things and diet things and all this type of thing, this food, which obviously is genetically modified or something like that, and it turns people into just, well, you've got to see it to believe it and that thing. Are you eating it, or is it eating you? Yes, definitely. Now this film here was a film that I watched because I was going through a lot of Brian Yuzna films because they were all out of this on the VHS, and so I've got a nice R card there, which I like that cover as well. Now this film here, it's quite interesting on Lauren's collection, which I'll put a link to down below. She said that she really enjoyed this film. Now it's funny because it's interesting to see a younger person's slant on it, because when I first watched this, I didn't like it at all. I've got to admit, I didn't like the whole thing of the upper class, and they've got this upper classness about this whole movie, and this people not fitting into that society. And I do need to rewatch it. I haven't rewatched it for a long time, but I was interested to hear that she liked it and she got it, and it's very much of its time. But it's funny that I translated to her at this time. Maybe it's because maybe this type of thing is around at this point. I don't know. But that was very interesting to hear that from Lauren. And but the effects on here are pretty stunning, and also, wow, you wouldn't believe what some of the things you see on the effects are. This next film is a film called Hellgate. I haven't watched this one, but I do know that this was really hard to get at one point, and you had to pay a lot of money to get it, which I wouldn't have paid because I didn't know anything about it. I will watch it, although I haven't heard great things about it, and I do think that I will give it a whirl, see what it's like. But I thought, well, I'll get it because it was one of them ones that you just couldn't get for love nor money. Same with Hell Comes to Frogtown, which I haven't got, but I know that a lot of people say that's a great film. This next one is a big 3-disc version of Evil Ed. Now, I'm trying to think, I think I watched this one. I'm not too sure if I did or not. It doesn't ring too much bells, although I'm pretty sure I watched it. I don't know why there's 3 discs to it. There's probably maybe a few different cuts, maybe. But I think it's a film with from a like a foreign film. So, but I don't know too much about it actually. Yes, it's got different cuts of the film on, but I don't really know too much about that film. I can't really say much about it, even though I'm pretty sure I've watched it. Now this one is a funny film because I got it recently. I watched it, and to be honest, for most of the film, I didn't enjoy it. I thought it was clunky. I didn't know what I was, I didn't know what the whole backstory was meaning. I found it very it just didn't really connect with us. So anyway, I went to the special features, and I watched, I do urge you, if you get this thing, to watch. Some people don't watch all of the special features. I don't really watch them all, but I sometimes try to. There's a newly filmed interview with actress Jennifer Delora, and her interview is just stunning. You'll not see another interview like it. She's just so frank, and she's so, when they're talking about scenes that she had to show, and she was talking about the way that her very candid explanations of how she was kind of not forced, but she was asked to do these scenes and she wasn't really too keen on it, or she was talking about how she wanted them to be filmed and stuff like that. But and she's cursing and everything. It's really funny and really entertaining special feature. So for me, I'm keeping it more for that. The film's all right. It does, when on the full watch, it does sort of make, you know, some sense, and I will watch it again. But that extra is highly recommended. Now this one is a film called The Tenderness of the Wolves, and I think this is more like an Arrow Academy release. For me, in my way of thinking, it's got an R card. I must have got 1,000 of these R cards, Tenderness of the Wolves. The film is based, I think it's sort of semi-based on the I'm going to say, although it says The Butcher of Hanover and The Vampire of Hanover was a German serial killer. Now, in my thoughts, I believe that the fellow was the Vampire of Dusseldorf. He was a fellow called Peter Curtin, and he had this. They did find him, they did catch him, and he just explained why what pleasure he got out of killing people. Now, I do believe that the Fritz Lang movie M, which is a great film, is based on Peter Curtin as well. Now, I think I've watched half of it, and I don't know if I got through it, because I will watch it all because I'm very interested in trying to think of how do you think they do with this. I'm not too sure the director is anything like that, but I think it's an interesting film for that respect, that it is based on a true story. But I do need to go back to it, because I don't know if I sort of just lost interest in it first time round, but I do need to rewatch it. I keep looking at it all the time and saying I do need to watch that film. This is another one that I got and I didn't really enjoy halfway through, but after I watched the full film I did quite enjoy it. The White of the Eye. There's one of the actresses in here who was in, trying to think what her name is. She was in, Kathy Moriarty, who was great in Raging Bull, and she was also great in another TV series that she did with Andrew Dice Clay, which I think he's brilliant. And you got a nice, you get there's a yard card, and you get a nice booklet with it as well. Now it's about a serial killer, and but it's a lot more than that. It's the only difference between a hunter and a killer is his prey. I didn't know what to make of it when I first started out, but I do think that it was a good film. It's very watchable, but be prepared to not get it straight away, if you know what I mean. It's one of them ones that you might have to see the whole film to appreciate it. This next one here is the Runaway Train. It was released quite early on for Arrow. I remember the reason why I got it was, and I mean, I did get this film probably when it came out, which I mean, I'm going to say it's 2013. Haven't watched it yet, but the only reason I got it was because when we were on holiday, me and my wife were on holiday in the 90s. We went to Mallorca, and for some reason this was playing on a TV. It didn't have the sound on, didn't know if it was English or not, but I remember watching it and I remember it being quite thrilling. And another thing about that was because at that particular night we decided to go out and just have a few drinks, which turned into me drinking. I'm not a big drinker. In fact, I don't drink anymore. I haven't drunk for many years, and just don't like it. Not an alcoholic or anything, but this night, for some reason, this Estrella beer was really powerful. So I decided, well, I didn't decide, but I ended up drinking 10 pints, and wow. But I remember this was on, and I thought, when this came out, I thought, I'll have to get it, I'll have to watch it. And of course, I haven't done any of them things. I've got it, but I haven't watched it. But anyway, so I don't recommend you drinking 10 pints on holiday, because the next day I was dead. There is a photograph of me lying in my pit from that, and I tell you what, I've never been so sick in all my life. Speaking of sick, this one here, We Are the Flesh. Now the reason why I got this was, and I've been trying to find this receipt and I haven't found it yet, but I might find it because I usually keep my receipts from HMV. What had happened was, I had got when HMV used to do the 5 for 30. 5 for 30, 5 Blu-rays for 30. And also they had the card, the grey card that used to get, well, it used to take you forever, but used to get you £50 off. So anyway, I saved me things up and I got £50 off. And I went to the sale and I got 10 Arrow Blu-rays. And this was one of them. I remember I got this because I had to make up the 10 because I had to get this special offer. So when I went to the desk, I gave the person my card and said there's £50 on there. So really, I paid £10 to get the 10 Blu-rays, so they all cost £1 each, which was one of my best ever hauls. And fair enough, in that mix was one of them was Raising Cane, which was the special edition of Raising Cane. Now, not that I knew that, but when I bought it, it was another film I wasn't really keen on, but I went to make up the numbers. And I did watch it, I did appreciate it, but I didn't really like it as such because I thought it was a bit too Brian De Palmery, if that's a thing. Although I thought the fella who I'm blanking on his name now, he's been in loads of stuff, John Lithgow, even though John Lithgow's a performance in that as somebody who's got multiple personalities is absolutely amazing, I love it, but it wasn't enough to sort of keep the film for us. I did then see that was out of print. I put it on eBay and it went for £40. Wow. So out of that thing I made not a lot of money, but I made a good sort of score for that one. But it doesn't mean to say you can do that these days. So yes, anyway, I ended up getting this one, We Are the Flesh. I watched maybe half of it and I thought, well, I knew it was experimental, but it was experimental to the part of just being experimental. And I didn't really get it or appreciate it. Things like Eraserhead, even though I don't understand it, I never will understand it, but I don't mind because I like looking at it. I like being challenged by a film to a set, like Tetsuo the Iron Man, all this type of thing that are a bit out there, but they've got something about them. This is out there, but hasn't really got anything about it. So, to be honest, it's there. It's whatever. It's not. I don't know anything. I might watch the special features, even though I don't know if I'm too thing. I don't urge anyone to pick it up because it's not really. It's neither something or nothing for me, if I'm honest. This next film, though, I remember seeing it, and I didn't know at this point that this lady was in Killing Eve, and I didn't watch Killing Eve, but because I'm a big fan of Phoebe Waller-Bridge, I didn't need to see Killing Eve. My wife had watched them all, but we went and rewatched them together, and we did enjoy them. It's a brilliant series because of the way it was done. Now, this film here, Catfight, it's not like Killing Eve, but it's got that kind of strangeness to it, and it's about these two people who don't really like each other, and their lives take turns. The sort of one's very successful, one's not, and they kind of through a series of misadventures, sort of reverse roles, and also for most of the fight they just punch the hell out of each other, which is amazing. It's dead funny. It's a good film. It's really brutal, but it's a different film. You don't really see two people fighting, two lasses fighting for most of a film, which I find quite which is just it's a fun watch, actually. Really good film. If you like films that aren't a bit off the wall, you know, I do like films like that. Now this lot here seem to be more of my J horror, and this one is Pulse, which I've heard a lot about. I think this is part of the one that I got in that haul where I got them all for £1, and you had a nice booklet with that. I've heard really good things about this. I haven't watched it, but I definitely will. I don't know who does this because you get is it Takeshi? I'm going to say his name wrong. Takeshi Miike or Mike. I don't know if it's one of his films, but I know that it's highly recommended by a lot of people who've seen it. Another one is like an early Japanese film, and I think this is more like Yakuza, Yon, and it's I think maybe even 50s this one, and it's Massacre Gun. You get like an R card for battles without Honor and Humanity, which I seem to have loads of them. You get a nice booklet, and I haven't seen it, but I do want to see these films. I do like Japanese films. I've got a lot of time for them. This next one is probably from the same sort of era and the same sort of genre. They do really look like each other, don't they? And so I think this is more like this yakuza sort of gangland thing from the Japanese one. Very stylistic from what I haven't watched them, but what I can think about them. It always puts us in mind of a film, and I bet most of these people are in as the same as are from the Godzilla films, that there was a Woody Allen film called What's Up Tiger Lily, where he got loads of Japanese films like that, and he overdubbed them with his own voices, but put like a really stupid plot twist into the films. Are really good to watch anyway. That film is really good to watch. Now this one here is the one that anybody who's ever seen it will know exactly what I'm going to say when I say this is like wow. And it is Audition. Now Audition for me is a film. When I watched it, I think it was on TV one night, I put it on and I thought, what's this? It's a Japanese film, I'll watch it. And I thought, what on earth is this film about? It didn't really sort of go anywhere. Not go anywhere, but it didn't really give you any idea what was going to happen. But so there's Dark Waters, a film I do need to get. And but I think as a Horror Abel show said, you're better off going into this film not really knowing too much about it. In fact, the reason why I enjoyed that film so much is because I didn't expect what was going to happen in the second half of the film. That's all I'm going to say. You watch it, the first half, you think, oh well, it is just a sort of bit of a romance type thing, a bit of quirky to a certain extent, and then the second half takes you to a dark area. That's all I'm going to say about that film. Amazing film, as everybody who's seen it do say. Nobody comes and says, load of rubbish. Now this next one is I think it's an Australian film, Dead End Driving, yes. And it's got a nice booklet there actually. That's shades of the Joker there to look at him, or Alice Cooper. This was made in the 80s, so that was well before The Dark Knight. So I haven't seen it. I put it on. The picture quality looks quite good. I think it was another one of them ones that I got for the 10 for £10 each. And this might have been in that one as well. Night of the Comet. I haven't watched it yet, but I've heard a lot of people say it's quite good. It's a bit like a sort of zombie film, for want of a better word. You get an R card for Cemetery Without Crosses there, which I haven't seen. I do want to see. I do like spaghetti western films. I do think they're very watchable. So this one here, I've heard a lot of good things about it, but I haven't seen it yet. So yes, so anyway, I'm going to go and wash my hands now, and I will see you on the next part. Probably there'll be other things you'll see in this process before I get to that next part. But thanks for watching these Arrow videos seem to go very well, and I do appreciate everybody commenting on them, and I get some great feedback for these titles and that. And so anyway, you take care, and I'll see you next time.